Hi, my name is Edie, and this is something I've been wanting to do for a while. As a chronic pain patient, it is getting increasingly difficult to get pain medication. And more people like myself are being stigmatized and thought of as drug seekers or people suffering from addiction. Nothing can be further from the truth. Only between 1% and 3% of people who are treated for chronic pain become addicted, and that is a pretty low number. So I've been wanting to speak out and talk to everyone about chronic pain and about the state of the country right now, and the fact that there are many of us who are losing our quality of life while we lose our medications. Before I get into me and my chronic pain story, something that I've been wanting to talk about and that I've tried to talk to a lot of people about for quite some time, and you don't really understand unless you live in Indiana, the Indiana Opioid Prescribing Law. Yes, the CDC did pass guidelines in 2016 to basically lower the threshold of how much medication or how many milligrams opioids they thought should be given and shouldn't be given. But in 2013, Indiana, or should I say Mike Pence, passed the Opioid Prescribing Law. It was an emergency law that went into effect in December of 2013 that affected chronic pain patients like nothing before. It went into effect in the middle of December of 2013, and the final rule went into effect November of 2014. But in December is when doctors immediately started basically weaning their patients down or basically kicking their patients out. And some people were literally just completely taken off their meds without any tapering. This actually had the opposite effect than what I guess the governor thought it would have. And I'll get into that later. But a lot of people are confused about the prescribing law in Indiana, and I wanted to go over just a few things and kind of give some clarity to what is going on out here and why pain patients out here have it so rough. Got a couple of things up here on my computer, and I'm going to read these to you. I have to put my glasses on, but if I put them on while I look at you, all you see are lights in my eyes. So, okay. When the law was passed, what it does, it sets parameters and the prescribing rule for pain management. Now, there are exclusions that patients with a terminal medical condition, residents of a health facility, residents enrolled in an Indiana licensed hospice program, and patients enrolled inpatient or outpatient palliative care program given out by a hospital or hospice, but not a doctor. Okay, so the threshold. This rule applies only if a patient has been prescribed any of the following medication at these doses and durations. So, this says that the rule does apply to these particular parameters. So, any transdermal patch for 3 or more consecutive months. Any opiate extended release medication not in abuse deterrent form if an FDA abuse deterrent form is available in any dose and from day one. Tramadol, if it is above 60 milligrams morphine equivalent dose per day for more than 3 consecutive months. And any other opioid containing controlled substance, basically meaning hydrocodone, oxycodone, Percocet, Lortab, morphine, anything like that. 60 pills or more per month, and 15 milligrams MED per day for more than 3 consecutive months. Okay, so it does not say that they have to prescribe at that level, but the law applies to anybody within those parameters, which at that point in time, I was on 10 milligrams hydrocodone every 4 to 6 hours as needed. Generally, I took 2, maybe 3 a day at the most. And I was immediately tapered down to 15 milligrams a day. So if a doctor does prescribe at these guidelines or above these guidelines, which they can, but if they prescribe above, there are 18 different points, 18 different requirements that the physician has to follow for each individual patient. And these are everything from, just say, patient-informed consent has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different points that they have to touch on. Then the patient visits have 4 different points. Inspect reports, meaning they have to pull inspect reports, which are pharmacy reports from pharmacies all over the state. They run this, basically a background check. So if you get a prescription filled at Walgreens in Indianapolis and then go to, say, a CVS in Evansville, it will show that you have been to both places and gotten the prescription filled. So a doctor prescribing above the guidelines has to pull inspect reports on all of their patients. Plus the drug monitoring tests, which are basically urinalysis, urine screens. This particular point or requirement has 18 different steps to it that a physician has to do. So basically, the physician that has to do all of these things per patient is going to have their hands full. And a lot of doctors really, and I can't say I blame them, really did not want to have to go through such tedious things for each and every individual patient that was on opioids. I'm not saying that every doctor has hundreds of opioid patients. I'm saying doctors that like take care of the elderly, geriatric doctors, and doctors who deal with chronic illness and things of that nature tend to have more patients on opioid pain therapy than regular physicians. So now the interesting part is in the law, which also has what I read to you earlier written into it, there is an entire section dealing with the Attorney General's office and what they can do to a physician if they do not basically dot all their I's and cross all their T's. And one thing that is in here that is very interesting that says the Attorney General may petition the Board for an examination authorization if the Attorney General has a good faith reason to believe that a physician may have violated or is likely to violate provisions of any statute or rule concerning the prescribing, dispensing, or administering of a controlled substance. Did you hear that? I will read this part again. Has good faith reason to believe that a physician may have violated or is likely to violate provisions of any statute or rule. So basically, the doctors can have their patient records pulled and they can be examined by the Attorney General's office if the Attorney General thinks that you might forget a step. And that, if it were me, I think that would pretty much seal the deal and make me want to stick within the 15 milligram guidelines, which is what my doctor chose to do. And again, my doctor doesn't have to do that, but you have to realize that many doctors are under more of an umbrella corporation. Many doctors are in a hospital community type thing. My physician happens to be in a network of physicians under a hospital authority. So basically, he has to go by the Indiana guidelines as well as any guidelines set forth by that hospital. And though my doctor is pretty upset about the situation, he goes by the law. He hates to have to do it, but he has to do it. And that's why I sit here on 7.5 milligrams of pain medicine twice a day, and I get 59 pills per month. I haven't had to sign any contracts or anything of that nature yet. I was informed that my last visit that they are going to take blood, which, since I am under the parameters of the law, I'm a little upset by that, but I have no choice. I have to do it. So, there you have it. Indiana law. And in my next video, I want to go over some of the tragedies that happened after that law went into effect. And it's not at all what you would think. You would think it would put people on the right track and change things for the better, but it absolutely didn't. Indiana is a disaster right now, and people are dying. And so we'll go over that one next. So for now, thanks for listening, and hopefully I'll get better at making this video thing. No makeup, obviously, sweatshirt, and I'm in my bed. I thought about doing the makeup and everything, but I'm like, that's not me. I don't put on makeup every day. I don't do my hair every day, and some days I can't even get out of bed. It's my life. And I'm fighting as hard as I can for myself and other chronic pain patients just like me. So over the next few days or weeks or however long it is that I continue to make videos, we're going to talk about a lot of these things. And yeah, I know I'm opening myself up to some criticism, and I'm sure I'll be called names, but you know, that's okay. I'm sick. I'm not an addict. I'm just a chronic pain patient who all I want to do is get up out of bed every day and take care of my house and play with my dogs and see my grandchildren and, you know, go to the grocery store and go camping and do fun things. And a lot of times it's very, very difficult to do when you're undertreated for your pain. So to all my other fellow fighters out there, hang in there, keep being warriors, and I'll see you next time. Okay? Bye.